Our reporter Heidi Giokos is in Pretoria with more on the inquiry for us. Heidi, good morning to you. Talk to us about this extension. 3 months, is it enough for that commission to wrap its arms around everything that it has heard from the witnesses? I suspect a person like Bantu Holomisa would not agree with a 3-month extension.
Well, we would hope that they try and get as much done as possible given this extension. But initially, the final report was supposed to be submitted on the 15th of April, which is in about 2 weeks' time, which is obviously not enough time for the Commission to complete its work and write a final report to the President. And this is why the President has decided to give them an extension of about 3 months. It's about 4 months away until they need to submit their final report, which is on the 31st of July. And this obviously comes from when UDM leader Bantu Holomisa came to testify about 2 weeks ago and asked the Commission to plead with the President to give them an extension. And Judge Lex Mpati in his statement on Saturday saying that in their interim report they had requested the President to give them this extension. And this obviously has to do with the amounts of work they still need to go through and the investigations that they still need to dig deeper into, as well as all those files that Bantu Holomisa had given this commission. We do know that it was stacks and stacks of files of evidence that Bantu Holomisa says the commission needs to go through because of all these investigations and these documents that had been given to him by his sources. So obviously a lot of work still needs to be done. A lot of questions still need to be answered, and a number of key witnesses still need to testify at this commission. We do know as witnesses such as the former CEO Dan Machile needs to take the stand, and perhaps a suspended CEO Matsepo More could possibly take the hot seat. So we'll have to see what comes out in the next few weeks.
All right. Heidi, I know that every time I ask this question, what's expected there today, you're unable to tell me much because the witnesses at that inquiry, they are completely hidden away from us. But talk to us briefly about last week. It was an emotional week, I understand. Who cried this time? For what reason?
So last week we heard from Lawrence Mulaudzi, who is a businessman and who's received a number of funding from the PIC, and the PIC has invested in a number of his companies. But the reason why he got quite emotional last week before the end of his testimony was because of all these allegations leveled against him and his partner being a board member of the PIC, Sipusisiswe Zulu, and all these allegations about how she has benefited from the investments that the PIC has made in his companies, and him basically saying that it's been a very difficult time for him and his partner, given the fact that he's had to explain the relationship. And Assistant Commissioner Jill Marcus basically explaining that all these allegations against him don't make sense because when he came to the PIC for these various investments, it was between 2015 and 2016, and he only met Ms. Zulu in about 2017, 2018, and that's when the relationship took off. And, the allegations don't actually make sense, she explained. So he got emotional explaining that it's put a lot of strain on him and his relationship and the various investments that he's been involved in, because all these allegations about how the only reason why he got these investments was because of her and her being a board member. And that's when he actually broke down in front of this commission and saying that it's been tough for him, but he's pushed on. Something else I must also mention is the fact that this commission's scope has broadened because the terms of reference there's been a terms of reference has been added to the list, and that is to find out whether or not the PIC has gone according to the mandate of its clients, its biggest client being government employees' pension funds, which they invest a majority of, and that scope has been broadened, obviously because of all these allegations that have been brought up in this commission.
Very interesting indeed that the broadening of the terms of reference, but yet so much little time extension given to it. Thank you very much, Heidi Giokos, our colleague at the PIC inquiry, watching developments for us there.